Welcome, everybody, to Planet New Jersey. I'm Vinny Civitola alongside my co host here, Randy Stevens. This is the official podcast of the New Jersey Business and Industry Association, and you can catch it anywhere you get a podcast. That's iTunes, Google, Spotify, wherever you're doing. If you're hearing the sound of my voice right now, you're doing the right thing.
You're
Keep
doing a
going.
good job.
Yeah, exactly. With us today, we actually have one of our speakers from our upcoming, I'm going to read this so I get it right, the Second Act of Cannabis in the Garden State event. That's going to be May 14th in Edison. So with us today is Fru Muzan from Fox Rothschild. He's a partner there. Fru, say hi. Let the audience hear your voice.
Hey, welcome. Thank you for having me.
Oh, the pleasure's all ours.
Fru, thank you for being here.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
We like to break the ice, and since it's mid-April, I wanted to get a sense of what everybody's Mother's Day plans are. You know, I'm one of those last-minute planners. I can always use some advice, some ideas, because it's always the last minute when I start thinking about this, and then, there's no reservations left, nothing. What are you guys doing?
Bro,
how many weeks do we have left? Then that's
many. I want to say about 3.
Okay.
By the time people are hearing this, it might be more like 2.
Right. The main thing is don't forget it, but they don't let you forget Mother's Day. It's like everywhere. It'll be 1,000 different advertisements about it. So.
Exactly. You always think like you got time, and then you call up the restaurant like 3-4 weeks out, and they start laughing at you like, what, you didn't call in January?
I've gotten better. I'll say this. I've gotten better than waiting for at the last minute when all the cards are all ran through and you got to try to find an envelope to match because you waited to the last minute. So I no longer do that. However, I do not have any plans as of yet.
Right.
All right, I'm gonna give my my pro tip for when that happens to you. Like when you're at the store and there are no cards left. Because I'm funny and because people know that I try to be funny, I will get a completely unrelated card and start crossing things out and marking it up. Like, Happy Christmas becomes happy. We cross out Christmas, we write Mother's Day. And that becomes funny, So, and I'm not saying that should be your go-to. I'm saying in a pinch, there's that option.
That's crazy. That's a good idea.
And Fru, you were telling us in pre-production that you kind of get the easy way out, where mom's just asks for a couple dollars to be sent over her way, huh?
That's all she ever really wants, bro. It's some money, it's some time with her kids. That's it.
That's the perfect mom right there.
That's all you really want. The restaurants will be crowded, and the flower shops, they charge you triple. Just give her a couple dollars and spend some time.
I like it.
I love it.
I like it. I like it a lot.
All right. Randy, you got some questions to get us started?
So let's go. I mean, so of course. So, Fru, thank you again for being here. As Vinny mentioned, you're going to be one of the keynote speakers and involved with some panels for us at our upcoming event, the Second Act of Cannabis, in just a few weeks here. So, I mean, so this gets a chance to serve as a great promo for the actual event. Highlight yourself. Tell us a little bit about your journey and how you ended up. You were telling us you're a partner at Fox Rothschild currently.
I'm a partner at Fox Rothschild, but I got involved in cannabis not by choice, really. It was by force.
Wow.
That's some real peer pressure right there.
No, really. It's interesting. I was the general counsel for the state Senate majority office back 2015 to 2019. So I'm like the head lawyer for the Senate Democrats. So when Senator Scutari says he wants to make marijuana legal, I'm like, first of all, bro, New Jersey is like the only place in the world you can't pump your own gas or buy a firecracker. There's absolutely no way these people are going to vote for marijuana. But that's how it kind of got started. So I was a part of the team that actually wrote the legislation.
Wow.
Law. Yeah, that's how I got involved. But once I realized that this was going to actually happen, I'm like, if anybody's going to make any money, I need to be one of those people.
I'm very curious before we move on from that. When you're writing legislation like that, like sometimes when you're negotiating, you start at a place that you think is kind of unrealistic, but you'll like come down to more. Are there any things that you guys threw in there just thinking like, there's no way they're going to approve this, but what if they do?
Bro, I will tell you some interesting stuff. So initially we just want to regulate it. We want to tax it and make it legal. That was the initial thought, right? So the late, great Senator Rice, mentor of mine, I loved him. He's like, I'm not voting for that. And they're like, why are you not going to vote for it? He said, rich white men from out of state are going to come and take all the money and run away. So if you look at the bill, what we were addressing him in a lot of it, right? So it's like we don't want everybody to have to be rich, so we put the conditional licenses for people that make under 200 grand, and we don't want it to all be white men. So then we write in and make sure that women and minorities are involved, and we don't want people to be out of state. So you see micro licenses and no out of state ownership for those types of licenses. So if you look at it, you can almost see why we put in certain things because we needed to get it passed, right? If we could get the votes, so we know where.
Wow,
that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's interesting to me too. So, right. And forgive me for our whole government affairs division here at NJBIA for not knowing this, but
Sure.
we're still so early on with this legalization of marijuana. Like, just some of the challenges, I guess, that you guys were facing in the early days. You were a part of this from the very beginning, it sounds like.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and then after we get past that part, then it was the social justice issue, right? And I'm like, what did that even mean at first? So the way I first understood it is that you didn't want to have people making millions of dollars selling marijuana, and the face of that person is a white man, right? Older. And then on the other hand, you have people doing the exact same thing, but they're getting prosecuted and arrested.
Wow.
And the face of that person is a black man, right? So how do you deal with that dichotomy? So we wanted to make sure that having a marijuana conviction in your past wasn't going to be an obstacle to you getting a license. But then the CRC took it a step further and tried to prioritize people that actually had marijuana licenses of convictions in the past.
When you say prioritize, you mean prioritize for getting a license?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, that developed later. That was never a thought when we were writing it. But the regulators, when they got their hand on it, they're like, no, we're going to have something we're going to call a social equity license. And we're going to make those the top priority. And you can get in that category if you had a prior marijuana arrest. Right? Because in theory, if your current dealer in your illegal legacy market gets a license, then you don't have to ever go back to illegal.
And look, there's already trust there, right? You do business with people you know, like, and trust.
There you go. There you go.
I don't have to sneak anymore. I can get receipts now, Vin.
You can get receipts and pay
it's taxes. A different relationship that you have to build. You know?
Right. You got to pay taxes now.
Fru was telling us pre-production. He said it was, it was a lot of fun being a part of this process, and I have to admit for all of our listeners, I said my college self would very much agree. that there's a lot of fun in this process. So forgive me for that. Forgive me for that.
No, we all know what you mean there. The good old days.
Also, so how many? I mean, and it's just been a few years since this whole legalization thing in New Jersey. How long has it actually been for?
It's been just a couple of years. It seems longer for me because I was there when it was an idea, right?
Wow.
So it's almost like you have a kid, and then when your wife says I'm pregnant, and you envision that, and then the kid comes, and now the kid's a toddler, and then the kids, and it feels like that to me. Like I'm watching a child that was an idea grow, and now I can actually walk into dispensaries and see the results. It's awesome.
So as somebody who has a young kid, I can tell you that a lot of times there are things that you don't expect to be issues that wind up being issues. You know, when the industry started kicking up, I know there are a lot of challenges for businesses outside of the cannabis realm. What kind of challenges are cannabis business owners facing right now?
I mean, the main challenge is money for most people. So what I think, and I'm not going to say we got this wrong because I still think it was the right thing to do, but we prioritize giving licenses to people that may not be the most likely to succeed in the business, because it's not like you can walk into Bank of America and get a loan to open it. So now you have to either have the money in your own bank account or you got to go out and get the money. And that's a challenge to a lot of people. And then getting approval from each town, that's also very difficult. Yeah.
So I know that there are issues around the idea that I guess because it's illegal on the federal level, but not here on the state level, there are still certain things that we have to comply with the federal. I know, like, it's a cash only business in a lot of cases. Talk a little bit about that. Like, what kind of challenges are people facing because of that weird dichotomy?
Well, it's not cash only. Like, that's like a misnomer. Oh. You don't see much cash. People.
See, I learn something new every day.
Yeah, I mean, that's why you got me here, right?
Yeah. So, hey, nice plug. Hey, Fru, yeah, nice plug.
That's why you hire Fox so you get through. No, anyway. But yeah, so it's not cash. It's just that you can't go to the big banks like Bank of America, Wells Fargo, but the local banks, Valley Bank, there's a bank in Bayonne, there's a couple credit unions that will do your banking. So once you have a bank account, you can get wires and a checking account, stuff like that.
So I guess, and one of my questions is right. You're saying the climate in New Jersey, right? So we're still fairly new. How are we so far, comparing or doing compared to some other states that were already, legalized before we got here?
I think we're the best, man, and maybe I'm a little biased because I've been involved, but I'm very proud of the way things have gone. Licenses are being issued. We have dispensaries all over the state that are open. We have growers all over the state that's open. If you wanted to get legal marijuana right now, I don't think you'd have to drive too far to find a place.
And you're saying licensing, is it? I'm assuming there's going to be different aspects of that for compare from retail to possibly what's that? I don't know if it would be manufacturing, but like a grower. Are there different spaces there for that? What does that look like?
There's six actually types of licenses. The first is the cultivator. That's the person that can grow the flower.
Okay.
And then the manufacturers who somehow can turn that into a gummy or a lotion and all that kind of stuff.
Lotion.
And then, yeah,
that.
it's crazy, bro. Like they got stuff you could do the tincture, like under your tongue.
You're just saying you could like rub the stuff on your skin?
Yeah.
Like, I'm just starting, wow.
I'm a far cry since college. I'll say that.
Oh my God. So you got to be careful. You got to be careful at how much you consume. It's strong.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. And then there's the wholesale and distributors as well as the retail and delivery. You can get a separate license to deliver as well. So
is there one area that's kind of booming or better or not better, but growing more than any others, in our state that you see or notice?
I think there are more retails than anything else because that's kind of easy thing to do.
Okay.
If you can run a CVS, you can run a dispensary. I think that's what most people think. So if you can get approved in a town and find a building, you can do that. So there's a lot more of those. The growing is a huge process and it's very expensive. Maybe the most profitable, but it's a lot of money to get started up. So there aren't as many of those as I think we probably need.
Is it more expensive than, let's say, like any other crop, or is there something specific about cannabis?
It's more expensive because it's always inside, right? No one's growing outside. So it's not like you just get a tractor and plant some seeds and do some plowing. Like you go to some of these places and the lights are on a timer and the water's on a timer. Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy.
I'm just imagining because I know we have like a garden outside and we grow like strawberries and stuff, and it's really just for the squirrels at that point because like they eat everything. So now I'm imagining like growing cannabis and like having the squirrels like tripping all over my lawn.
Right. Imagine being able to create the perfect environment 24 hours a day, 7 days, the perfect amount of nutrition, the perfect amount of light, the perfect temperature, the perfect human. Like imagine the type of machinery you need to do that.
I guess that must be an issue with every crop though, unless cannabis is very fragile or sensitive. I guess maybe.
Well, it's expensive, so you can't afford to miss a lot of it, have a lot of it go bad.
Yeah.
And the customers, they want it to be great. You buy a bag of apples, there might be an apple that tastes sour and the other one tastes sweet, and you're fine with that. But the consumers of marijuana, they want everything to be perfect.
I can imagine.
Right.
And it's actually so I was going to ask you if to the grower point of view, if a certain region of the state was better than the other, but you just kind of surprised me and said most of it is being grown outdoors. It's not like
indoors.
Just traditional farming.
Indoors.
I'm sorry, indoors. Yeah, it's not traditional farming. That was a surprise to me because I was going to ask what region do we see it more in our state.
No, I mean all of it is indoors. There may be one outdoor license given out. No, certainly no more than 5.
Wow.
So it's just a warehouse somewhere. I think most of them are in the southern part just because it's cheaper to get land and the warehouse rent is cheaper down there than it is in Jersey City.
You mentioned that it was hard for the people who are getting the licenses to secure financing to open one of these things. Are there any tips for that?
I wish, bro. So imagine the social equity. Now you could become a social equity candidate if you got a marijuana arrest, and that could be anybody, right? You could be in Wall Street right now and have had. So there's some of those, but then you can also be social equity just because you live in a place that is below the mean economically. So you don't have a lot of money and you may not have a lot of business experience. So who's gonna give you a couple $1,000,000? It's just difficult.
So when you get the social equity, let's say the designation, is that only giving you the ability to get the license, or does that also give you some kind of an exemption in like a grant or a loan as well?
No, I mean they don't have much money to give you. And then in order to qualify for the license, 51% has to be a person that fits the criteria or a group of people that fit the criteria. So even when you go out and raise, so I'm going to be like, Randy, I need $2 million to fund this project, but I can't give you a majority share of the company. I can only give you 49% of the company. Meanwhile, I don't have much business experience, but I can get this license. I mean, would you give your $2 million?
Listen, if I had $2 million to give,
Right.
I'm happy just to be able to have that conversation. To be
Yeah.
Right.
And listen, and mom's gonna be happy too with Mother Day's coming up. I'll tell you.
I know that's right.
Cannabis business is the perfect present for any mothers.
Yeah.
This Mother's Day.
A cannabis business. There you go. Give her some equity in your business.
I can only
Oh my
imagine my
goodness.
mom being like, "What am I supposed to do with this?"
Oh
Hello.
man. So I mean, I assume that, and again, lack of knowledge in the GA space here. You put a bill together, it got passed. You were talking about how watching it like a baby. Were there any things, to Vin's point, that happened? Some things that we still have to probably put some barriers around, or are we kind of like things were in place already and it's happening just as we expected? Like, what does that look like from your perspective, for?
I mean, to me, I didn't expect it to go any better. Like maybe I was realistic from the start. I didn't expect it to go any better than it's going. Like we're giving licenses. It's not all rich men from out of state that are getting them. Places are getting opened and people are selling marijuana. And last I heard, 2024 was over $1 billion in legal sales in the state of New
Wow.
Jersey.
Wow.
And I think that's faster than we thought we would get there.
I mean, that's amazing when you think about it, because a few years ago that was nothing.
Yeah.
Like we've created this industry and it's already become a multi-billion-dollar industry. Let's say,
How about that?
yeah.
Yeah, it's been fun to watch. It's been fun to watch. But I tell you what's interesting, like from my side of it. So there's two types of clients. Right? There's one group that's the successful businessman from some other thing, right? He has a bunch
Okay.
of hotels, he's got a bunch of funeral parlors, car deal, that dude. And he's like, oh, marijuana is going to be legal. I'm going to get into that. So that's him. And then there's the group of people who just love marijuana and they think they want to start a business for the first time and they think that's going to go great. And you kind of hope that second group would be able to compete with the first group. So if there's any disappointment, I'm not sure how well that's going. I'm not sure that the people that are winning in marijuana aren't the people that would be winning if we made firecrackers legal or we did anything. It's that same group of people. They're all different colors because we're in a diverse state, but I'm not sure if it's the people that we wanted to give the leg up actually got it.
And is there any type of training, schooling, education involved for some of those the second group you just mentioned, people that are looking to get in the industry and maybe pass some of the other criteria? Is there anything that the state is doing that's kind of helping or assisting these people with entry into the industry?
Yeah, the state has some programs where they're helping train people, and I do think there was some money, like $250,000 that they gave to some social equity candidates. So the state's doing everything that they can do, but there's just such a big gap, really, between people that's new, not just to cannabis, but to business altogether, trying to compete against some guy that got 5 hotels that decides to get into marijuana. It's just the reality of the situation.
Maybe there's some kind of, like I think you maybe even touched on it before where, people can team up. Like, I know this part of it and you were able to get the financing and, you need me just as much as I need you.
Right. That'd
So
be great.
and then I'm sorry, Fru, go ahead. I forgot.
No, I'm saying that'd be great, and you do see that happening. There isn't a company where it's just one person. It's always a group of people.
I was
one
gonna say,
guy.
I was imagining when you were talking about the two groups before, I was imagining like these two people coming together,
Right,
make some
right.
interesting business partners.
I know the product, you know the business. I mean, this is matchmaking.
Right. That'd be great. But people that have money, they tend to not want to do that. They would rather hire somebody that knows marijuana than to partner with them and
Yeah.
give them equity. And the wolves eat the sheep at the end of the day, right?
Wow.
just figured if you needed, you were saying there are certain requirements for getting the licenses. So if you need this kind of person in order to get the license and this kind of person in order to get the financing, that's where I was coming from with that. But yeah.
Yeah, I like the idea. But just whether you in one of the categories or not, you can still get the license.
Oh, gotcha.
We're giving priority to people that fit here. So if you're just average white guy from California, you gotta wait. Well, what does that actually matter? Like the time's gonna pass and then it's gonna be your turn. The other guy got a 6-month head start, but maybe that's not enough to keep him ahead.
Yeah.
And for you mentioned to us, right? There's some banks in the state that are easier to receive funding for than others. You said that there's some training opportunities available for folks looking to get in the industry. So tell me about this, right? You go before legalization occurred, there was drug testing and things that what we now made legal for recreational use or whatever is now everyone free to use of a certain age. Like, what did that look like for corporations having to adjust to that in terms of testing and then even maybe monitoring or maintenance for employees coming to work every day?
That is we could do a whole story just on that.
Part 2 for you got to come
The
back.
whole story. I'll tell you the problem. The problem is there was no test that can tell where you are at this moment when it comes to marijuana consumption. It's not like there's a breathalyzer.
Gotcha.
Right. So if I give you a blood test, it may say that Randy has some marijuana, but he might have smoked it 3 weeks ago. And that doesn't tell that you're impaired right now.
Or put the lotion on, then.
Put the lotion. Right. So that's what makes it difficult for employers. But as we're having that debate a lot in the state as we're trying to get the bill passed, and it's like my conversation was always with employees. Well, what is it that you're afraid of, right? You don't want people tired, right? You don't want people high. You don't want people unproductive. Well, you can fire them for that. Whether they marijuana, alcohol, or they just got a crying baby, they not getting no sleep. You can fire somebody for falling asleep at work. So what does it matter what the reason is? I mean, that was my take.
It's tough because you got to think some people can go out and take a smoke break, and they might just be a little bit different now, whether it's a gummy or like what we were talking about earlier, some of the other products from manufacturing that's available. It's like it seems like it has to be challenging, for people in those spaces, especially from an HR perspective. I guess I can put it that way.
Right. I think that's right. Absolutely. And no one has figured out. If anybody could figure out how to do a breathalyzer for marijuana, there'd be a multi-billion.
Wow.
Because it's the same problem with the roads, right? Someone's driving, you pull them over, and you can't really tell. They say they can tell, but I don't think that's real.
Because it's not just all aroma anymore. You just some of the other products that manufacturing is doing. You got gummies, you got hygiene. I mean,
yeah.
I mean, I got to imagine that if you're using lotion enough, you're going to smell a certain way all the time. Like eventually you're putting that on you. It's going to, so I don't even think you could use aroma,
Wow.
Yeah, I think that's right.
Well, at least we know.
I don't know. Ever since you mentioned the lotion, that's just where my mind's been going. I'm imagining going out to the beach, grabbing the wrong bottle, slathering it on, like thinking I'm putting the sunscreen on.
Let me say to Mrs. Civitello, because I'm sure she's a listener, we are not recommend Vin give you this for Mother's Day.
Exactly.
Right. Have anything tested that Vin gives you for Mother's Day?
Fru, we do not sign that. We do not co-sign on that gift, Fru.
No, sir. No, sir.
So
go ahead.
Go ahead, man. No.
I was going to switch gears over to the regulatory side.
Me too, Ben. Same page, man.
Same page, man. This is why we're co-hosts. What are you guys seeing? Where are we? What are you hoping for?
I mean, things are going well. There's a lot of talk in the community about home grow. Like that's a huge topic for people in the community, right? They want to be able to grow some at home, especially medical patients.
Is that not allowed now? I mean, I know you can't have like a whole farm, but like, was there a certain amount that you were allowed to do?
None. You can't do it.
None.
You can't do it at all.
Oh, wow.
Right. I'm gonna have to burn the whole thing. No,
right. You can't do it at all. But I think that maybe that was just for the beginning, and it's gonna at some point allow at least some amount. And the people that are running for governor, some are saying, yeah, we're gonna do home grow. Others are like, I'm ready to do for just medical. And so I think there's going to be some movement there.
And is that what you were talking about earlier when you were saying like the wholesale aspect, versus I'm assuming like big box stores or big box brands versus some of the smaller retails? Would homegrown fall into that category, I guess, the more retail side?
No, if you're homegrown, you got to use it yourself. Like,
the
idea for homegrown is for someone that's a medical patient to not have to buy it at all.
Gotcha.
To be able to grow a couple plants for personal use, but you're not supposed to sell that, which is why the state has been resisting on allowing it, because it's kind of hard to police. Someone might sell it, you're not supposed to, and it's just hard to figure that out. So
it's happened before.
It's happened before, yeah.
Wow.
Speaking of like the oh, I lost my train of thought. Randy, ask a question.
I got you. No worry. I got your back. So let's do this, man. Since we're kind of pushing time here in just a few moments. Fruit, tell us. We have an upcoming event, the second Active Cannabis. It's going to be a big draw for us. It's supposed to be in May here. What's exactly your role in that? Are you are there certain things you're talking about? Are you a part of a panel? What are you expecting to occur at that event coming up?
I'm on the panel with a couple friends. Bill Caruso's moderating, and a couple of us that know the industry that's been involved from the beginning. Gonna be telling everybody what's going on.
One of the other questions I thought about too, man, was age groups. I mean, obviously you might have seen some of this in some of your research. Possibly, are there certain age groups that are kind of more drawn to the industry from a business perspective than others, or what does that look like? Obviously, financing is going to play a big part of that, I'd imagine. So it might lean one way towards another.
Right. It's hard. I've got them all kinds. Like just looking at my roster of clients, all the way up to in their 60s, and then in their late 20s, early 30s. So different.
And I don't know this even too. If you do get the licensing, you have the financing, and Randy and Vin are now opening up a shop. Do you have to offer both medical and recreational, or can you pick a side and stay in that lane?
Mostly just recreational at this point. Like the people that are doing medical and had the licenses before recreational became.
And that's a different set of criteria, I'd imagine, more tenure required or something of the sort.
Yeah, those licenses people already had them, but once recreational became a thing,
Gotcha.
I don't think anybody was trying to get medical licenses because you're not going to go get a prescription to get a Tylenol, right?
Yeah, that was actually going to be my question before. I was going to ask if this affected medical at all, because do we even need it I mean, I don't know. I don't know what I don't know, but like
yeah. I mean, you still need it because sometimes the prescriptions are for children that have some kind of ailment, right? So a child may have cancer, and he may get a prescription for marijuana, but he couldn't legally buy it as recreation. So that person needs to have a card. And then you got some people that just want a medical card just so that they can feel like, no, this is medicine. I'm not. I'm not a stoner. I have a prescription. So you still got those people out there.
Sure.
Listen, wear your badge proudly, man. And for let's ask this: so, is there still room to grow in this industry? I'm assuming, like with the development of AI, that's going to nice, Vin. You see what I did there? I didn't even do it intentionally. But like, obviously, with the advancement of AI and things is there still a lot of room to grow in the state with the business since it's still so early on?
Yeah. So every town had an opportunity to opt out of marijuana if they wanted.
Oh wow!
So when we first passed the bill, it was 180 days where any town that didn't want any marijuana businesses in their town at all could just say no.
Oh wow!
And a lot of them did. Like more than half of them did. So
are they allowed to change their minds?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you were on the fence, it was better to say no and then change your mind later, right? So I think the growth is going to be in just more towns embracing it and being more places.
I did not know that. I thought once it hit or once it was legal, then it was like state of New Jersey completely. That's new information for me.
Yeah. When we say you're not, this town said no, is that just for the businesses, or could their residents not have it either?
Oh, just for the business.
Okay.
It's against the Constitution to tell people they can't.
I guess.
but they could stop the businesses from operating. So if you looked at Morris County retail, there isn't a lot of towns in Morris County that said okay. Right. So I think that's going to change as time goes.
This is amazing in terms of new information still coming out for myself, and we might have to come back for a part 2, man, just to pick Fruit's brain a little bit more before we get into the.
Anytime. This is fun.
Hey! Just before we let you go, we're gonna jump into our trivia game here. It's a Jersey-based trivia.
Okay.
There's no reward for this. It's kind of just to take the pressure off of the heavy questions Vinny and I were asking during this process.
Well, these might be harder than any question you're asking.
Listen, you said you're a lifetime Jersey guy, Brick City. Was that right? Newark,
yes,
New Jersey?
Sir. Born and raised.
Awesome. So
I was gonna say the last show, you weren't here for the last show, but the last show I was asking the questions, and it was the first time nobody's
Oh
ever gotten
gosh.
anything right. So I'm
I
hoping
did.
Randy made him a little easier. Well,
Oh man, am I the only one playing, or are you playing?
it's me. I'll play too. Randy's gonna ask the questions. I don't know what they're gonna be.
All right.
If you've got something that you can write on a piece of paper, I actually don't have any paper in my house, so I grabbed the junk mail that came in today, and I'm gonna write on the back of the envelopes my answers.
That's paper. I'm in my law office. I got plenty of paper.
Awesome, awesome.
All right, let's see what you got.
Let's
All
do
right.
it. Question number 1. We're gonna skip. That might be too easy for him being from North. We're going question. Yeah, I got it. Number 1 here. What is the highest point in New Jersey? What is the highest point in New Jersey?
The highest point.
The highest point in New Jersey.
Oh man.
Are you ready, Fru? Just give me a nod or a wink or something. Let me know you're ready.
Let's go. I don't know if I got this right. The highest point, like a mountain or so?
Yeah, this is going to be my answer is obviously wrong, but like I'm calling back to the very first episode of Planet New Jersey when I asked what our only volcano is called, and Casey said Mount Pork Roll. I don't remember what the real answer was. But
What do you got? What do you got, Fru?
I'm gonna say High Point, New Jersey. That's
High Point, New Jersey is correct, Fru.
Oh my gosh, they put it right in the name.
Ben, when you said highest point, I thought you knew the answer right then and there.
I didn't. When I said highest point, I was saying like, oh, the pun to the highest point, like marijuana.
So, all right, question number 2. How many farms does New Jersey have left? Some of these could be marijuana farms. Who knows? But how many farms does New Jersey have left?
Can I ask you something? All right, can we round it? Like, do we need to have like 820?
A round number works. A round number works for me. How many farms are left in New Jersey? And here's a fact: even though New Jersey is losing farm acreage, the number of farms is growing, and Fru's industry could have something to do with that. Who knows?
Oh,
what do you got? What do you got, Ben? How many farms are left in New Jersey? What do you got, Fru?
I'm gonna say
guess is 800.
I got 450.
Actually, the number is 9,000 farms still active in New Jersey. Listen,
so I'm gonna go with Price is Right rules, where like as long as you don't go over the closest to it.
Listen, I'm in Burlington County down here, and there's farm stands and farms all over the place down here. So yeah, 9,000 farms still left in New Jersey.
So this is the tiebreaker now.
Fru's up 1. No, it's 1-0. Fru.
No. Well, he got
1-1 because so without going over, I did the higher number.
He was the closest.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah. Price is Right rules. Okay, I understand now. Shout out to Bob Barker. I'm with you. Okay, 1-1. Question number 3. Let's go here. What do I have? Okay, cool. What shore town is often called Dry Town, USA, because no liquor is sold on its island? Which shore town, popular shore town destination? And matter of fact, I'm going to give you guys some options here. It's often called Dry Town, USA, because no liquor is sold on its island. Is it Ocean City, Brigantine, Stone Harbor, or Tom's River? Shore town called Dry Town, USA, no liquor sold on its island, which sounds a little hard for me to believe, but
I'm gonna go Ocean City. I was just in Tom's River, and I swear I saw this.
What do you got, Vin?
I put Tom's River. I really don't know. I actually originally wrote Ellis Island until you gave us the options because I was like,
gosh.
I don't know if you can get alcohol there.
Well, listen, Fru is winning 2-1.
There's more questions. All right.
Yeah.
I have to reuse some of these this mail.
Let me throw one more out here just to see if Vinny can tie it up, and if not, then we'll call it a day because this was a surprise for me.
I'm conceding to Fru, but I would love to hear the last question.
Myself as well, but this is just such an interesting question. Please let me ask it. New Jersey is one of the United States leading producers of which crop? Then it's not one of the ones that we've answered in previous shows.
Oh, okay.
New Jersey is one of the United States leading producers of which crop? And here are some choices: coffee, macadamia nuts, pineapples, or eggplant. Surprised me when I read this. I mean, I just didn't expect it. Leading producer, New Jersey, one of the United States leading producers of which crop? Coffee, macadamia nuts, pineapples, or eggplant?
I'm going eggplant.
Then
Eggplant
for Fru, and those answers are correct. Congratulations, gentlemen.
All right, so if there's a tie, I'm going to say tie goes to the runner. That's him.
Or
because my point was only because of like I got close. We're still going to say he wins.
I do have one more if you want to try to break it.
Yeah, this is fun. This is kind of fun.
Here we go. Last question.
We're learning stuff new about the state that we're from.
Listen. We're talking about crops grown, and why not? New Jersey is the world leader in the production of which berry? Raspberry, blackberry, blueberry, strawberry. New Jersey is the world leader in the production of which berry? Raspberry, blackberry, blueberry, strawberry.
I'm gonna say, you ready, Vin?
Yeah.
I'm gonna say blackberry.
Blueberry is correct. Then came back
Oh.
for the win.
Ooh.
Fruit. Oh, wow.
Oh man.
You know what? I'm still gonna concede because the only reason I knew that was because I said that New Jersey's biggest crop was blueberries in a preview.
Yeah.
That was one of my questions. So
I always assumed it was cranberry, and it's not. It's blueberry.
I thought that too because I went to Rider University and they're all about the cranberries. So I always thought it was cranberry. But yeah,
you
Fru,
let that
you
one
take
slip
the
out of
win
your
for
hand,
today.
sir.
This was so fun. I appreciate it. It was
Yeah.
fun.
Oh, go ahead, then wrap us up.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Fru, if people want to learn more about cannabis, maybe take advantage of some of Fox Rothschild's other services, how can they get a hold of you guys?
My name is Fruquan Muzan. If you Google me, it's always me. It's never confused with another Fruquan Muzan. So just
How do they spell
let me
it?
talk
Just
about that.
I do
Well,
it, but yeah.
Mouzon.
And Fruquan?
Fruquan, Fruqan. So
Cool.
just
And then he's at our upcoming what? What was that event we got coming up here in May? I
The
think.
second act, I'm reading this off again. The second act of Cannabis in the Garden State. That's May 14th in Edison, New Jersey. Be there or be square.
love it.
Fruit, thank you for being with us, sir. This was a lot of fun, man. Thank you so much.
Yeah, we'll talk soon, guys.
Yes,
Thanks.
sir. Have a good one.